Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting up to speed, with maybe a few surprises along the way. Today, we're jumping right in with some pretty big news coming out of the UAE, specifically the Abu Dhabi Judicial Department. They've made a move, a really historic one, that feels like it's setting a new stage for digital finance over there.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just a small update. This feels like a real foundational shift. We're seeing the start of something new, where digital finance aims to be both super secure and incredibly easy to use. The big leap for the whole region's economy, actually.
And right at the center of all this is something called AECoin. It's the UAE's first stablecoin. So our mission today is simple. Unpack what AECoin actually is, figure out how you can use it, and maybe most importantly, understand what it all means for your money, your financial future, both in the UAE and maybe even beyond. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with those headlines because this news is fresh. The Abu Dhabi Judicial Department, or ADJD, they've teamed up with Maryah Community Bank. And the big news is they're now accepting digital currency for court fees, legal services, that sort of thing. This makes ADJD the first government body in the entire Middle East to officially take AECoin for these kinds of transactions. That's pretty huge, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And what's really interesting here isn't just that they did it, but why they did it. This ADJD move, it's strategic. It fits perfectly into the UAE government's bigger picture for a modern, fully digital economy. It's right in line with His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan's vision for, an innovative judiciary. Think about what it does. It adds more smart payment options, connects the courts and the banks using new tech. It's not just about convenience, though. It's about building trust, making things more transparent, and easier to access for everyone, citizens and residents alike. It really sets a benchmark, It kind of paves the way for AECoin to be used by other government services down the line. Imagine paying a court fee before maybe a bank transfer, maybe going somewhere in person. Now it could be, almost instant, done digitally.
Yeah, that practical example really brings it home. But I think for a lot of people, maybe even our listeners, the term stablecoin still sounds a bit fuzzy. Maybe it makes you think of those really volatile cryptocurrencies, or it seems weirdly linked to a bank. So let's clarify. What exactly is AECoin, and what does stablecoin mean here, really?
That's a great point. So AECoin is the UAE's very first stablecoin. It's issued by a company called AED Stablecoin LLC. But here's the key part. It's backed by Maryah Community Bank. Now, the stable part comes from its peg. One AECoin, they call it AEC, is always worth exactly one UAE dirham, the AED, always. That one-to-one link gets rid of the crazy price swings you see with other cryptos. It gives it stability, almost like a digital version of the cash in your pocket. It runs on blockchain technology, right? Which means even though it's issued and backed centrally, the transaction records are spread across a secure network. This makes every transaction super secure, efficient, and transparent because it's recorded permanently and anyone can, theoretically verify it.
Okay, but with anything digital, especially money, regulation is the big question mark hovering over everything.
Yeah.
Where does AECoin stand legally?
Yes. Not just a big question, it's probably the most important one. And the answer is clear. AECoin is fully regulated. It's got its license from the Central Bank of the UAE, the CBUAE. This isn't just a rubber stamp. It's a crucial official stamp of approval. It gives it legitimacy, security, trust. It positions AECoin as a totally compliant digital currency option, and its whole purpose is pretty ambitious: to shake up financial transactions, making them instant, secure, stable, innovative, cheap, and really efficient. Having the CBUAE watch over it means it works within proper rules, protecting users and keeping the market sound. And underpinning all this is the goal to bring financial services to more people, boost financial inclusion, especially for those maybe left out by traditional banks.
Right. Stable, regulated, secure tech. That all sounds good. But let's get practical. For you listening right now, what are the actual real-world benefits of using AECoin? Why pick it over just using your bank card or cash?
Yeah, the benefits are pretty direct and tackle some common frustrations. First off, security. We mentioned the blockchain, but there's more. AECoin uses cutting-edge security. Plus, it offers things like multi-factor authentication MFA through certain agents, adding another layer of protection. Second, efficient financial management. It genuinely aims to make sending and receiving money simpler, faster, smoother. This isn't just nice to have, it could mean more financial freedom, giving you instant control over your money. Then there's the stability. That one-to-one peg to the dirham is huge. It means your funds are safe from the wild ups and downs you see in other digital markets. It's stable. You also get real-time transactions. Money moves almost instantly thanks to the blockchain. Think seconds, not hours or days for settlement. And lastly, wealth protection. Because it's tied to the dirham within the UAE's strong economy, it's designed to be a stable way to hold on to your assets.
Okay, but here's a question I bet is on some minds. Is this really a game changer? Or is it, just another stablecoin popping up in a market that seems to be getting quite full globally? This is where it gets interesting.
That's a fair challenge, definitely something worth asking. Look, blockchain offers transparency, sure, but data privacy is always a valid concern with any digital system, right? But what really sets AECoin apart, I think, is that strong regulatory backing from the UAE Central Bank itself. This isn't just a vague approval, it's a specific framework designed to make the market safer, more predictable, especially when you compare it to, well, the history of unregulated cryptos, the volatility, the failures we've seen. This isn't just tech for tech's sake. It's explicitly built to improve financial inclusion. Think about migrant workers sending money home. AECoin offers them a potentially much cheaper, much faster way to do that compared to traditional remittance channels, seconds instead of days, with way lower fees. That's huge. And the data backs this up. Something like 93% of stablecoin transfers in the UAE are small retail-sized amounts. That tells you it's being used for everyday stuff, acting as a real gateway for ordinary people.
So AECoin is a digital dirham itself. But how do you actually get your hands on it and use it? And we need to talk about the tool, right? The AEC Wallet. What is that exactly? How does it work as your doorway to this?
Right. The AEC Wallet is the key part for you as a user. It's the first wallet in the region built specifically for this AED-backed stablecoin, and it's powered by Maryah Community Bank. They've designed it to be super easy, fast, and secure. Basically, the simplest way to buy, send, receive, hold, and sell AECoin at, as they say, internet speed.
Internet speed. I like the sound of that. Let's break down the features. What can you actually do with this wallet day to day? Well, first, you can send and receive AECoin. Pretty straightforward, sending money to friends, family, or paying businesses. Need to turn your regular dirhams digital? There's an easy top-up feature. Converts your AED straight into AECoin in the wallet. Seamless. And going the other way, you can cash out in AED. Turn your AECoin back into dirhams and send it to your linked bank account for paying in shops or online. Scan and pay using QR codes. Quick and easy. You can even link up your bills, utilities, phone, whatever, and pay bills directly through the wallet. Essentially, it lets you go cashless and cardless. Your phone becomes your main payment tool. No need for physical cash or cards.
Exactly. And beyond those features, the wallet itself has core strengths. That stability we keep mentioning, thanks to the 1.1 peg. The speed faster and often cheaper than old-school banking because of the blockchain tech. Security is built in, with encryption and private keys protecting your funds. Plus, they've really focused on making the interface intuitive, user-friendly, easy for anyone to pick up. One important thing to note, though. This is a payment and holding solution. You won't earn interest on the balance in your AEC wallet. That's just how it's set up. But crucially, it's fully compliant with all UAE regulations. That's a big plus.
Okay, so for anyone listening in the UAE who's thinking, all right, I want to try this, walk us through it. Who can get one, and how do you actually sign up for the AEC wallet?
Yeah, they've tried to make it pretty simple. Basically, any UAE resident who's 18 or older can open an AEC wallet account.
And the steps to sign up, what do you need to do?
First step, download the AEC Wallet app. It's on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and the Huawei App Gallery. Once you have the app, you'll sign up. You can use your existing Mbank UAE app login or your UAE pass, which speeds up the identity check. Then you'll need to put in some personal details, your Emirates ID, info, phone number, and they'll ask for a selfie, a picture of your face for biometric verification. Submit that, and then there's a verification process. Usually takes about 2 working days, they say. Quick tip, make sure your Emirates ID is up to date before you start, saves hassle later. Now, one key thing, you must have an account with Mbank already to open an AEC wallet. That's a requirement. Good news is there's no minimum balance needed to open the wallet itself, so it's quite accessible once you have the Mbank account. Let's talk fees. Downloading and using the app for transfers is free, but when you top up AECoin using dirhams or when you cash out AECoin back into dirhams, there is a small fee. It's 0.1% plus VAT, so quite minimal. Transferring AECoin between wallets, though, completely free. Also good to know there's a daily limit. If you're cashing out back to AED through the app, it's 25,000 AECoin per day. And one last piece of advice, really important. Keep your Emirates ID details updated with your bank. It's needed for ongoing compliance, KYC, and stop your account getting frozen or anything like that.
Okay, the ADJD partnership is obviously a massive signal for government use. But what about the wider picture? What other parts of the AECoin ecosystem are taking shape? Where else might we start seeing this pop up?
That's the million dirham question, isn't it? How fast will it spread? And AECoin's strategy seems focused on landing these big, visible partnerships. So beyond the ADJD, which is huge validation, we've already seen other major players jump in. Air Arabia, for example, they became the first airline in the region to let you pay for flights using stablecoins, specifically through the AEC Wallet app. Think about booking a flight and paying instantly with AECoin. That's a new level of convenience for travel. And then in retail, which is massive, the Select Market grocery chain is on board. They've partnered so shoppers can pay for groceries, everyday stuff, just by scanning a QR code with the AEC wallet. Instant, secure, no extra fees at the till. That's making it real for people.
Wow. Okay. So government, travel, retail. It really does sound like they're aiming for broad adoption across key areas of daily life. And this isn't just happening in a vacuum in the UAE, right? This fits into a much bigger global trend we're seeing with stablecoins.
Oh, absolutely. What's happening with AECoin is perfectly aligned with global movements. We're seeing stablecoins gain serious traction everywhere. Think about places like El Salvador adopting Bitcoin, Australia exploring CBDCs, China rolling out its digital yuan, Singapore being a fintech hub. Everyone's looking at this space. Stablecoins offer neat solutions to old problems in finance, like they work 24/7, ignore borders, bypass slow banking processes. They're especially powerful for cross-border payments, remittances, cutting out the middlemen, slashing fees. That migrant worker example, that's a huge use case globally. Near instant, low-cost money transfers. I mean, the estimated value of stablecoins floating around globally this year is expected to hit something like $208 billion. That's not niche anymore. And look at the big traditional players, Standard Chartered, Bank of America, even PayPal and Stripe. They're all getting involved, launching their own digital assets or exploring the tech. They know they can't afford to ignore this shift towards decentralized finance and a more digital economy. It's clearly where things are heading.
What a fascinating deep dive into AECoin. So we've covered how this regulated, stable digital currency pegged to the dirham is already making waves, from court fees to airline tickets to your weekly grocery shop, all through that user-friendly AEC wallet.
Yeah, and if you step back and look at the bigger picture, AECoin is a really interesting example of how digital finance is evolving. It's trying to carefully balance genuine innovation with strict regulations. Stablecoins like this, they offer huge potential, right? For efficiency, for bringing more people into the financial system, but their long-term success, that really depends on ongoing regulatory clarity, building and keeping consumer trust, and getting enough places to actually accept them. Which leaves us all with a pretty important question, I think. As these digital payments become more and more part of our everyday lives, how will you, listening now, decide to navigate this changing financial world? How will you balance the convenience against maybe concerns about security, privacy, and making sure everyone has access?
That's definitely something to think about. Consider what these changes mean for how you'll handle your money in the future, the opportunities that might open up, and how these digital waves will keep reshaping things around us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.